LFK TV, episode 4, intro number. I'm not even going to tell you how many times I've tried to do this now. So I'm at St. Vrain State Park, standing on the banks of Coot Lake, getting ready to catch some trout with bait. I know right away a couple of you guys are scoffing at the idea of me doing a show trout fishing with bait. First things first, I'm an EOA, what I call an EOA. I'm an equal opportunity angler. I've never had a bad time with something pulling at the end of my line. Second, I wouldn't be as passionate as I am about fishing today if I didn't start somewhere, and where I started was doing what we're going to be doing today with my grandma and grandpa, my mom and dad, my aunts and uncles. And I got to tell you, some of my best times, most memorable times fishing, especially early on, we're doing what we're going to be doing today, bait fishing for trout. You know, specifically, there was one trip with my dad where, I think it was like my 12th birthday. We both caught 20, 22-inch rainbows fishing night crawlers in the river. You know, it's just fun. And the other part of that, and the other part of doing this video, is at the end of every seminar that I do, and I also get a ton of emails about, Eric, I just want to catch fish. I don't care what they are, I don't care how big they are, I just want to catch fish. Well, the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, they really do lay it out for you with the stocking report. You get on their website, and I'm going to put a link in the comments to this video to where you guys can follow it step by step to get the information you need to go out and replicate the success I'm going to have today. So the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, they do the stocking report. An amazing resource, especially if you got kids or if you're new to fishing, to go out and start building that, that confidence. Because once you start hammering fish, once you start having, 20, 30 fish days, you're going to be confident to go, okay, well now I think I've got pretty good at using bait for trout. Maybe I'm going to use spinners. Maybe I'm going to use spoons. Or maybe I'm going to go for bigger trout now. It all starts somewhere. So guys, while you're watching this video, think of somebody that you think would love to get started in fishing. Tag them in the comments section of the video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away all the tackle I used today. The rod and reel, all the lures. Actually, I'm going to give away more lures. There's going to be a big pot of Daredevle spoons, just a bunch of stuff. They're going to be able to pick it up at Bass Pro Denver. That's who donated the rod and reel and some of the tackle. And if you're going to get started in fishing, I hate to sound like a commercial, but there's no better place to go than Bass Pro Shops in Denver. Talk to the folks in the fishing department, and they'll hook you up. So without further ado, let's catch some fish. Okay, guys. So the first thing that I do when I'm rigging up for fishing the bottom for trout, I'm not saying this is the only way, just like before, but this is my way. So first thing I do, got a swivel on the end of the line. I put my sinker on. Now grab your bait hooks, of course, legendary Eagle Claw. Same stuff that my grandpa used, I'm going to use. So I get 2 snelled bait hooks out, and I'm using size 6, just because if I can avoid it, I don't want to keep any fish today. But whenever you're bait fishing, you kind of got to be prepared to harvest a few. Okay, and we'll talk about the ethics of fishing after you have your limit and all that stuff here in a little bit. So what I do is I tie the first one on, is going to be the high one. I wrap around 5 times. I go back through the loop that you created with your finger, and you cinch it down. Okay, that's my top one. Right, like so. So sinker's going to keep the line on the bottom. This is going to be about 2 foot off the bottom with bait floating up. I'm probably going to put Powerbait on that one. Let's grab another hook. Now this is going to be our bottom one. The mistake you can make with putting this one on is you could put it too close to the weight, and you don't want that. So I want it up at least about 1 foot. And again, 5 times around. And I'll do a better breakdown of showing you guys how I do this. And there's different ways to do it. There's guys that like to fish a slip sinker rig. There's guys that like to rig it different. This is how my family's always done it. So what you're left with, you got the sinker on the bottom, and you've got 2 hooks that we're going to bait up. coming up off the bottom because we're going to tight line it, and I'll show you guys that here in a second. So I'm going to put Powerbait on the top hook. And with the Powerbait, when you mold it on, you just want to make sure you're covering everything, every part of the hook that's exposed. You just want to cover. I'm not worried about making a perfect ball or anything crazy like that. I want to cover the eyelet where the hook is snelled and the hook, and that's it. Now we're cooking with peanut oil. Okay, you see how that's all the way covered. Now I'm going to come down here, and I was going to start with a night crawler, but I'm going to go old school and put some Pautzke salmon eggs on. And it's just the same concept here. All you want to do is cover up as much of that hook as you can. I'm not going to say stalker rainbows are the smartest fish in the world, but they aren't chumps either, so you don't want to treat them like that. I know a couple of my buddies just laughed at that. All right, now let's put this bad boy out in the water, and I'll show you guys how to tight line it, and let's start catching fish. Before we take our first cast, and I know this close-up of me is brutal, what I'm doing, as you can see, I'm looking around for something I can use to put that rod on. This actually might do the trick. There we go. It isn't the best rod holder I've ever got for bait fishing, but it'll work. All right, guys, so I just made the cast. I'm letting my sinker and my two hooks sink to the bottom. What I want to do is I want to get the line tight as I put it in my rod holder. You could be fancy if you want. You could buy a rod holder, or you can do like I did, is just find a stick and find one that's laying around. Don't go yanking on trees to get a stick to put your rod in. But anyways, as you can see, the line's tight. So what that does, it brings the bait up off the bottom, and it's hanging down, and it's also going to allow me to detect any bites. So most of the time with these trout, you're going to get a couple little pops, and then it's going to be go time, and they're going to thump it, and you don't have to do the Jimmy Houston hook set. Like, I see a lot of guys bait fishing, what they do is they reel down and they set the hook like the trout just said something about their mom. You don't have to do that, okay? So let's pretend I'm getting a bite right now, and you'll see the footage of the fish that I caught, how I do it. Reel down, just a little pop. All you got to do. What's up, guys? We're out here at Coot Lake, St. Vrain State Park. Fishing's been great. You know, I talked to the folks out here. They said that they've stocked it in the past couple weeks. A couple different lakes out here. If you want more information, give these guys a call. But we're running 2 hooks on a bait rig fishing the bottom, okay? And one of the cool things about that is you can mix it up a little bit and you can see what they're keying in on. I had Powerbait up top, salmon eggs on the bottom, but they were only hitting the salmon eggs. So I switched it up and I've been fishing salmon eggs on top and on bottom. I've been catching a ton of fish, but I've also gut hooked 3. So now is when ethics come into play. I want to keep fishing for a couple hours, so I don't feel like I can keep using bait right now. You know, I could break the barbs down on these hooks, which I'll do a little bit later, but there's still a chance that one of these rainbows can, you know, they could swallow the hook and I'm gonna have to keep it. If I put my 4th rainbow on the stringer, I am done fishing for trout. That's my personal ethics. That's what I believe in. That's what I'm gonna do. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna switch over to a spoon. I'm gonna pop off 2 of these hooks. I'm gonna run single barbless to where I can keep fishing, I can keep having fun, and then in a couple hours I'm gonna switch back to bait. I'm gonna get that 4th fish for my limit, and I'm gonna go home. All right, guys, so I popped off 2 hooks on the treble. One thing that you need to do is make sure you're aware of where those hooks are. Don't leave until you have them loaded up in your trash. We don't want any little guy, little gal stepping on them and having to go to the ER because, you know, we're irresponsible. We're not gonna do that. So we know right where they are. They're gonna go in the trash, leave no trace behind. We know what to do, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the pliers, I'm gonna smash the barb down, and now with 3 fish on a stringer, I can keep fishing, I can have a blast. Chances are I'm not gonna gut hook with a spoon this big, and then I'll switch back over to bait later. This way, I can stay within what I feel is right. I can keep fishing and having a ton of fun. Okay, with this Daredevle, all you're gonna do is cast it out and slowly retrieve it. You don't need to get fancy. And this bait's light. It's really, really light. That's why I'm reeling so slow. That's all you gotta do, slow, steady retrieve. What's gonna happen is that Daredevle's gonna have a shimmy and trout just go nuts.
That was quick. I was just gonna say, that was freaking quick.
Just go. All right, guys, so far we've caught them on salmon eggs, just hand over fist. The bait bite has been great. I've got 3 on a stringer because I gut hooked them, possibly because I'm a little out of practice when it comes to bait fishing. So what I did is I switched over to a Daredevle. I popped off 2 of the hooks on the treble, single barbless. I've just been whacking them. I want to show you guys another way that you can catch these stalkers. And again, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, follow the stocking report. You'll be able to get into a bite like this really consistent by following the stocking report, or just coming out here to St. Vrain because they keep it stocked all the time. So what I have here, 1/16 ounce Eagle Claw jig head, 1-inch Gulp minnow, and to keep with the theme of the day, the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid, putting it under a bobber. So all you gotta do, put that over there, get one of the jig heads. Doesn't really matter what color, I'm gonna go with the black one. Wrap it around 5 times. Through the loop you created with your finger, and then back through. And there's a couple really cool YouTube sites that illustrate that. Keep track of what you do with your tag in. Don't just throw it on the ground. Put it in your trash bag, put it in your tackle, throw it away later. Okay, from there, I'm gonna give myself, I don't know, a couple feet. Then I'm gonna put my bobber on. So to put your bobber on, so you got a clip right there. So wrap it around 2 or 3 times on the bottom. Pop it up on top. And on top, all you gotta do is get it through there. Now your bobber's set. It's in place. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna open these 1-inch Gulp minnows. And I'm telling you, anything that swims will bite this. Crappie, bass, bluegill, trout, channel cats. I can keep going if you want me to. And then all we're gonna do is we're gonna thread this bad boy on so you guys can see it. And it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? These stalker rainbows don't have PhDs, right? Like so. And I'll show you guys, there's nothing funner than watching a bobber, seeing it go down and sticking fish. So that's what we're gonna do right now. All right, guys, I'm out here at Coop Pond. I'm with Scott, who works with the CPW. I'm with, you guys know this guy, Matt Mascarenas, Outdoor Ed. You know, when Matt and I started the LFK Podcast, one of the biggest things that we wanted to do is get folks out fishing. This park, St. Vrain State Park, is the perfect place to just come out and catch fish. But Scott, it's changed in the past handful of years. It's not just a trout fishery anymore. What kind of fish do you guys have in the park?
Yeah, we got everything from largemouth bass, saugeye, a couple of ponds of northern pike. We got actually a trophy cat fishery.
It doesn't get better than that.
Blue heron.
I mean, you literally have access to most of the great game fish species, especially on the warm water side, right here in St. Vrain State Park. If you have any questions, their Facebook page is extremely active. Scott, if they run into you, can they ask you questions about the fishing?
Yeah, that's the best part of my job.
Awesome. You know, these guys are here to help you. These guys and gals are here to help you. Matt, you have a long history with fishing here, just like I do. We used to fish it back when it was Barber Ponds.
Right.
What's something that you love about all the great changes that they've made?
I mean, it's just the changes for the better. Like you said, there's back when I used to fish when it was Barber Ponds. Like all three of us probably were fishing when it was Barber Ponds. We were just talking about that earlier. It was all about trout. Like I saw, you know, I thought crappie and stuff every now and then, but it was all about trout. That's all I thought about. But now there's just like blue heron back there. That lake is something that I'm going to start trying to get to more, being able to fish more species there. And it feels like it's like every pond is unique in its own way. And it's fun to go and figure out those ponds and figure out how to catch fish on each individual pond.
Well, and think about it too. If you got a big boat, come out here.
You can put your big boat.
If you got a kayak, if you got a float tube, if you got a canoe, or if you want to do what we did today, which is fish from shore, use some bait, and just have a ton of fun, St. Vrain is the place for you. So it really doesn't matter what species you want to chase. You've got opportunities here. So guys, this is going to go out today. Okay, this video is going to go out today. We're at Coop Pond, we caught fish, roadrunners, daredevils, salmon eggs, a number of different ways. So the fishing is good here. Where else do you recommend them to go in the park to catch trout right now?
If you're going for trout, Mallard Pond right behind the Camper Services building is good. It's cold, deep water. So it's also probably the best one to ice fish for trout because it gets cold first and it stays cold long. Then Sandpiper right now has already got 20 people fishing on it. It all look like they're all having good luck. That one's the one we're going to dump the most fish into.
Awesome.
We've already put over 5,000 fish just in that one pond, but it's high pressure and you're going to be dealing with a lot of people pretty close to you.
Yeah, in what I said at the beginning of the video is we all have a unique relationship with fishing. You know, I typically don't trout fish with bait, but there's a lot of people that absolutely love it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do what you enjoy. If your idea of having a great time fishing during the weekend is going out to Sandpiper, fishing next to some of your neighbors, everybody having a blast, you can do that. And if you want to do some exploring, you've got opportunities to get away from the crowd too at the different lakes and ponds that they have inside St. Vrain State Park. So Scott, thanks a ton. I hope that people are going to come talk to you and say, hey Scott, where are the fish biting? Matt Mascarenas, Outdoor Ed Podcast. We started this. We split for the same reason, so we can affect more people. We can get more people involved in the outdoors. We hope that this video is going to reach you and you're going to go get some salmon eggs, or maybe you're going to get a daredevil and you're going to go catch fish. Appreciate you a lot. Appreciate your time, Scott. Appreciate your time, Matt. Thanks a lot. Hope you guys enjoy the video.